This is the voice of the Report of the Week, signing on. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, everyone listening, everyone who is present in attendance, and is listening away, all the dear listeners of this program. Thank you for tuning in and thank you for listening. This is VORW, the voice of the Report of the Week, and I warmly welcome you to another program. It's the early hours, around 2 a.m., of Tuesday, the 10th of January, 2017, and I hope to get this taken care of. Hopefully by Tuesday, maybe Wednesday, get it recorded Tuesday, uploaded Wednesday, or a situation similar to that. And definitely by probably midnight on Tuesday, the very, very early hours of Thursday, this is going to be up. I'm just recording it now. And, here we are. Here we go. Here it is. It's VORW, the voice of the Report of the Week, a weekly program in which I share my thoughts on various topics. Good, bad, and in the middle. I talk about all matters pertaining to the channel. I talk about some matters pertaining to my life, too. And a mixture of everything in between. And I talk about some matters that have no impact on me or this channel whatsoever, but I still want to talk about them. And I talk about them, too. And that's what we got. That's the show. Some people listen to it and enjoy the content. Other people listen to it, don't enjoy the content. Some people don't listen for the content at all, but they say it's a pretty good sleep aid, and that's fine with me. I know, I've said this before, getting to sleep is often hard enough as is. So if you find anything to help you get to sleep, that's wonderful. Wonderful. More power to you, That's what I say to it all. Anyway, it's the first week of January is over. Now we're into the second. Hope that's going well. I thought 2017 was going to start off on a good note, but I was wrong. I shrug is what it is, right? You can't really predict the future. It's a sad thing. You could always berate yourself for past mistakes, but you can't scold yourself for something that you'll do in the future, or for how something will play out in the future. It is how it is, and that's life. Which, well, hey, that's how things are. But in the span of time, since I recorded the last program, things have tanked. They really have. Not gonna lie, they have. A lot of things have just gone to S. Again. For the second time now. From every angle. Now, don't get me wrong. There's still a few good things in my life. There's still a few positive moments of the week. And, don't get me wrong, it's not all bad. Most of the time for everyone, it's never all bad. There's always a few good things to, put in there. But whatever really the prevailing emotion that you feel for that period of time, essentially will dictate what your thoughts on it are. If you have, in a span of a week, if you're happy most of that 7-day period, and you have a few bad times in between, you'll still probably define it as a happy week. You're not going to necessarily say it was mediocre because I had, this guy cut me off the other day when I was going to work and I got really mad about it or whatnot. You're not going to say that. You'll say it was a pretty good week. So you let your, just what you feel the most during that week. And if it's, anger, sadness, disappointment, disgust, then chances are you'll probably say it's a bad week. Doesn't mean you didn't enjoy or didn't enjoy anything about it, you know. That's self-explanatory. Oh, anyway, this last week was a pretty bad one. January, it's always January, you know? Always the end of the year and the beginning of the new one. That's when it always is bad. Always. And you might be begging the question, well, you might be interested to know why the week was so bad. And I know sometimes I can be, a little bit stingy with the facts, stingy with the details. I get that. I know I can sometimes, but this time around, it's going to be different. I'll tell you what's perturbing me, why, and maybe I'll even make it a little bit of a lecture. Because not every VORW show needs to be happy. Not every VORW show needs to just be talking about the channel and radio, yeah, that's what the majority of them are, but it's my show and I can manage it accordingly. So I'll talk about what I talk about. And that's that. So, I'll elaborate. Most certainly I will. And that'll be a part of this program, part of the beginning at least, the early part. Then we'll talk about some of the usual stuff, radio, VORW, anything else, maybe the channel a little bit. Letters, of course. And we'll go from there, We'll go from there. And this is one of those problems, it's like a giant dessert, right? You have this giant dish of ice cream, It's a juvenile example, but it's an adequate one. You have this giant dish of ice cream, and it looks so just gigantic and humongous. You have a little spoon, and you don't know where to dig in. You don't even know where to start. Start eating, you don't know. That's kind of how this week has been, I don't know where to start off. If I should start off just addressing the issue, or if I should talk about something that'll then tie into it, I don't know. I guess for the sake of you guys, the listeners, I'll jump straight to the issue, and then I'll make all tangents and connections later. Yeah, we'll do that. Let me make sure we're recording first. I want to make this a hassle. Let's see. Yeah, still are. Okay, great. What happened this week, and it's not the only problem. I've had a couple other things on my mind too, but this is most certainly what made this week any worse than any other. And I guess the best way to say it, it's not the specific thing that's being done already to some extent has been done in the past. I'm used to it. It's nothing that really caught me off guard. It mostly involves the specific person doing the action in question and the circumstances surrounding that. That's what bothers me the most this time around, okay? Or I should say the suspected person. That's what bothers me the most about this all. Right? You can take a generic action that's been done hundreds of thousands of times before and get a specific person to do that action. It'll suddenly have a higher significance than, say, some random person did it, right? I think you get the picture. Impersonation, that's what it's about. It's something I've dealt with before. Heck, I made a post on the Reddit about a week and a half ago about impersonation. It's, I've had to deal with it many times in the past. And it's only bound to happen in the future even more. Someone's going to claim that they're me. Someone's going to pretend to be me. Someone's going to attempt to cause problems being me. And that's okay. You make a little PSA, a little announcement about it. Done. Done and done, you know. You remove the offending material if you can, otherwise you let it go. You tell people it's me, you know, it's not me. Here's the real me. And everything oftentimes will get cleared up. I remember some of the first impersonators of my channel really started not until 2014 on Twitter. Summer 2014 Twitter, that's where it originally started. And I had some accounts on the Twitter that were making, you know, I guess tweets and posts claiming they were me. You know, the guy changed his Twitter handle, I guess that's what you call it, to, you know, Report of the Week or Report of the Week Official, you know, TROTW official underscore review brought, you know, something, a name like that. I guess actually the Report of the Week was taken by someone else beforehand, I don't know. And they were making posts on the Twitter pretending to be me. You know, they had the avatar that matched my channel's one, and they were making these posts. Oh, I've dealt with it. Made the audience at the time aware of the issue, and it burned out. And I've had the same thing happen, you know, through 2014, 2015, even 2016 on various sites. It's not just Twitter. It's happened on YouTube, happened on Reddit. I mean, on 4chan, anyone can impersonate anyone, you know? I know they have the trip code system that helps a bit, but sometimes someone will still essentially try to put in a little name and pretend it's me. Especially back when I used to do the Q&As on 4chan, I'd have people come on and try to pretend to be me, you know. All that. So it's a repeating trend, it's cyclic, and with such an audience and such a high volume of trolls, of course it's going to continue. That's not anything unexpected. So they might be saying, well, if it's another case of impersonation, then why does it get you down so much? Why does it bother you? You know, what fills you with that strife, that anger, that, you know, what is it about it that does? Well, this case of impersonation it's a unique scenario. It began about a few weeks ago on YouTube with several accounts getting created in the comments section that have the same name as my channel. The Report of the Week. I didn't know you could actually do that, but you can, of all things. Isn't that crazy? These accounts, I think at least 2, maybe 3 of them, sprung up in the comments and had the name, the Report of the Week, as their account name, with the same avatar and everything. And I'm so glad I got that verification check mark. This is when it's actually useful. You can be able to discern between my real account and some of these fake impersonators. They don't have the check mark, ignore it. Anything they say is null and void. A couple weeks ago, I think maybe a week and a half ago, I had these accounts going around in the comments, pretending to be me, responding to comments as me, with just these offensive things, you know, telling someone suggested, they said, oh, you're a loser, you know, F off, something that I'd never say to anyone, or even think. And they were there posting that, and they were trying to do that to try to get people to unsubscribe and, you know, lose the support of the channel. And they were quickly blocked, these accounts. I contacted the afflicted individuals, either in the comments or messaging or what have you, I explained the situation, and almost every situation was reconciled just fine, and things are going fine. I made a little announcement as the standard protocol on the subreddit, and I thought, that's it. That's it. Just the usual routine BS that comes and goes, and that's fine. Case closed. It's over. Well, I thought it was over until about 3 days ago. I started getting emails from website administrators. I'm talking about the admins of several forums, several archives, a number of and if you're a 4chan user, you're well aware of all the 4chan archives that are out there, and forums, various forums, etc., image hosting websites, too, Imgur. I've been getting emails about 3 days ago, starting, from the administrators of these sites, saying, excuse me, I hate to interrupt, I hate to send you this message. I've been receiving a large volume of requests for the DMCA, a lot of DMCA, that's the, I believe, Digital Millennium Copyright Act. That's saying, like a copyright infringement type of thing. Been receiving a large number of these DMCA requests from an individual claiming to be you. And I want to know if it's actually is you reporting the content, or if it's the work of someone who's essentially trying to censor the internet. Or a lot of them said, it's of a lot of miscellaneous. It's nothing too grievous. I asked them, I said, well, number one, that's not me. And number two, can you provide me with more information about the individual doing the reporting and the images and content essentially trying to be removed? So an IP was provided, originating from New York. I now know exactly who did it. And the content which was requested to be removed mostly consisted of nothing more than screenshots of my videos, pictures of me that I even put up online myself. The photograph of me with Daniel Tosh from 2013, or no, I'm sorry, 2016 early, I apologize. And a couple, GIF images as well. Well, I put the pieces together and I let out a sigh. I said, well, shoot. I used a different word than that. To put it all together, number one, doing that is there's very little legality to attempting to be me to do that. And number two, what's really bothered me is that this whole case, after I found the IP and found where it originates from, strikes a lot closer to home, if you know what I mean, than any random impersonator. If it's someone that's claiming to be me to remove these things, unless I see it personally offensive or what have you, I'll personally request it, and I'll contact you. I said, listen, I'm not even in New York. So it grinds my gears. It makes me depressed that this this is going on again. And for what reason they would want to go behind my back, try to pretend to be me, to get my own content removed. That bothers me. Upsets me. I don't know. I'm gonna have to see if this continues. Again, all of the admins of these sites already know it's not me doing the reporting, and that someone's incorrectly and falsely claiming that it is me. This bothers me, that's all. Now, the impersonators in the comments, because number one, I know for a fact who this person doing the online impersonation is. Can I fully tie together those accounts in the comments as that, or is it just coincidental timing? I don't know. And this crap, it's extremely difficult for the victim to combat it. I mean, I'm so thankful that these administrators contacted me, reached out to me. Because if they didn't, you know, what could happen? It can confuse a lot of people. I can be wondering where all this stuff is. I'll contact them and they'll get back and they'll say, well, you said, but I thought you told me that you wanted it all down just a couple weeks ago. And it'll just cause problem after problem after problem. So this is ongoing. So lovely, isn't it? What a beautiful way to start off the new year. So again, stressed out. Wish it didn't have to come down to this. If you've experienced that kind of stuff, you know how it feels. You know it's a wide range of emotions. Disbelief, denial, stress, anger, depression, and everything combined into one thing. You get it, you know. So that's why my week's been a bad one. Haven't been sleeping well, too. Haven't been having good dreams. Probably because of this. So here we go again. And that's where it stands right now. That's where it is. Maybe I can only keep my fingers crossed that it's one big misunderstanding, but right now, the evidence that I have points otherwise. But that's what I keep hoping for. And what I really feel is just extreme disbelief of it all. Just complete and utter disbelief at the whole situation, the whole scenario. One thing that I think needs to be mentioned is that, number one, this whole slew and onslaught of impersonation and reporting, it didn't just happen in one day. It didn't just happen at this one time and I was suddenly contacted all at once and it never happened again. This has been going on continuously, obsessively, and actively. It is completely ongoing. This was just not a one-off incident. This has just been ongoing continuously for days now that I know of. It could even be longer than that. And many of these items, which are being removed, aren't easily accessible either. They're not immediately available at the top of the Google search. Most of them aren't available right off of Google Images. They need to be dug deep down within these sites, these forums, these archives, these image sites. You need to dig down, spend time on these To find many of these things, you need to dig for probably 45 minutes at least, hours possibly, to find all of these alleged materials. And almost all of these things, if not all of them, were taken down unjustly, I believe for the personal satisfaction of the impersonator. And to really give complete validity to that, it needs to be known that the majority of these materials have been on my channel, available on YouTube, for over 5 years, 5.5 years, close to 6 years now, without any incident in the past. Half a decade now, and nothing has been brought up about them until now. Nothing. Without incident at all. And I'm certainly 100% positive that this was tried to be removed from YouTube, but to no avail. And it's just complete disbelief. I just shake my head at it all, just at the thought of it. Just disbelief. And one other thing, ladies and gentlemen, you really need to remember as well, is that people cannot hold me or other sites responsible for what people say about me. Because if you do that, that's saying that people don't even have the right, therefore, to think freely and think what they want. And that is completely and totally incorrect. I let people take pictures of me, I let people use pictures of me, and sometimes people will use those images of me in ways that maybe I won't like. They'll try to portray me as a Nazi or what have you. And guess what? I may not like it. Oh well. They still have that freedom to say what they want to say and think what they want to think. It's not my fault that someone else manipulated a picture of me. There's nothing wrong with that, one bit. That would be saying, well, when you took that picture, you shouldn't have taken it because some guy a couple months later is going to change how you look in it. That's completely illogical. Number one, that's impossible. Number two, it's illogical. Number three, you can't censor everyone. I said it again, and I'm going to say it now. People have the freedom to think however they want. They can think what they want. There's nothing wrong with that. It's called free will. That's what everyone is born with. That's what everyone will have. Free will. You can think what you want to think. And quite honestly, I think some people try to disregard that in order to get something that they want. Hey, you may not like it. That's just how life is. There's plenty of things about me that, hey, maybe I don't like. What do I do about it? Nothing, because that's just how the world works. You're going to have people that say things about me or you that you won't like, and they can damn well say those things, because that's their right. You can't be loved by everyone. You can't expect to be praised by everyone. If you do that, you're delusional. People are going to have differing opinions. People are going to not like you. And that's just fine. That's perfectly legal, and it's perfectly acceptable, no matter what your own personal thoughts about it might be. And that always needs to be remembered, especially when it comes down to things like this. If you don't like it, request it to be taken down by all means. But do so claiming to be the person that you really are. It's common sense. You know? Ugh. Oh well. Can't predict the future. I wish it was that easy. I wish you can get a little bit of like a weather forecast for each week. Knowing, alright, hey, this is going to go down on Tuesday, so get ready for it. Friday's going to be a good day at least, so put on a smile that day. But that doesn't exist, nor will it ever. I don't know, all that I feel right now is just disappointment. Utter disappointment. Disbelief that this has to go around the bit of sadness, a bit of anger, a bit of disgust. It also took a blow to my productivity a little bit. I got a lot of emails for the VORW program, the last week's radio show, I mean, that I wanted to get to and reply to, and I didn't get the chance. I was just felt like S the last couple of days. So I apologize. I'll get there. I'll get around to it, and if you want, as I always say, there's nothing wrong with just resending an email. I always say that. Feel free to do it. You have the ability to do so, so don't worry. But I'll try to make my rounds, get around to it, and that's what I got. You know? That's what I have. Any comments or feedback on it are duly appreciated, because sometimes asking you guys and getting, you know, a second or third or fourth opinion really can help, and sometimes you'll be able to get an idea and even a potential solution which you never would have thought of in the first place, and sometimes you need someone else who can think outside the box a little more, perhaps. So, comments, questions, and general feedback regarding the subject, specifically the impersonation and what's going on about that, but anything else I lectured on, again, are duly welcome. YouTube inbox, youtube.com/user/the report of the week, about tab, send message, and input that there. Or if you're more of an email person, repweekinterview1@gmail.com, repweekinterview1@gmail.com, or vorwinfo@gmail.com. That's vorwinfo@gmail.com. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening thus far. Thank you for putting up with me. You're listening to VORW, the voice of the report of the week. You're listening to VORW, the voice of the report of the week. And we now continue this program. I'm, as a matter of fact, recording this at a different time. I was recording this, I guess it's still the very early morning hours of today, around 2 a.m. I was. And now it's getting towards the end of the day. It's around 10:30 p.m. And the reason why there's that extensive break in recording the segments is I figure, well, I'm going to try to concentrate on some better things and try and be in a better mood for the rest of the program. So that's what I'm going to try to do. I can't promise that my venture here is going to be successful, but we'll try, you know. Hey, you try. It's worth a try. You try, you don't always succeed, but you try. That's what I'm going to do this time around. Try it out. Give it a go. Give it a shot. And we'll see. So, I'm trying to record this in a better mood. And coming up next in the program, I'm going to talk about any miscellaneous things that come to mind. And thereafter, what else? Thereafter, I'll talk about, you know, the radio stuff. And from there on, the letters. We'll read letters. Letters and letters. I don't really have an awful lot on my mind as I record this. There's always the weather. Weather, you know. Moderately chilly tonight. Moderately so. down here it doesn't get that cold at night anymore. It's 60 degrees right now, which is fine. But I'm wearing, right now, on this 60-degree night, I'm wearing some, I don't know if you've seen this picture. I'm sure almost a lot of you have. It's a picture of me wearing that one real vintage cut suit. Looks like a 40s suit. I think it's actually from the 60s or 70s, though. Just an older cut. At the thrift store, you know, it's that gray kind of checkered pattern suit. I'm wearing that. I'm wearing the pants to that suit. I'm wearing the pants to that suit right now because they're warm. They're very warm. I'm wearing a white shirt, a solid black tie, and I got my black overcoat on, some Argyle socks, and black shoes too. That's what I got on this 60-degree evening. And no, yeah, you know, it's okay. It is, you know, surprisingly enough, it's 60 degrees, but I can see my breath right now. I can. I'm looking at this light. I can see my breath. See my breath in the light there. You know, funny, huh? You'd never expect to see my breath on a 60-degree day, but sure enough, there it is. And there I am drinking an iced beverage anyways. It actually did get pretty cold a couple days ago down here. It really did. It got down to 30 degrees. Cold enough for snow. That was when, if you remember, if you live in the mid-Atlantic, there was that snowstorm that hit recently. Hit the Carolinas real hard. Virginia, North Carolina especially. Dumped some snow on the region. It did. You know, snowed people in, delayed travel a bit, delayed the Amtrak trains. Yes, indeed. Indeed it did. And, yeah, you know, with that snow, it brought down some cold air as well. It did. Excuse me for a minute. Sorry about that. I got a bit distracted because I saw a spider crawling around and didn't want it crawling in my drinks. Civilly, I know, but still. So I moved my drinks, and I didn't want to make that a big process. I just stopped the recorder momentarily, and now we're back at it. Sometimes what I'll do for fun, and if you want to reinforce the point that I'm a loser, this is some good material for you. What I'll do for fun sometimes is there's this site, can look it up, and you can just Google it, Amtrak tracker, and you'll see a map of the U.S. I mean, it's like the first link. It's asm.transitdocs.com. And you go here, and there's a plane, and you'll see a map of the United States, and you'll see all these little squares along these lines, and they're different colors. You'll see a lot of them are green, some are yellow, red, and some are black, and they're numbered. Those are all the different trains going around the country, Amtrak trains, and I'll zoom in and I'll click on them, and I'll say the what line it is, where it's going, how fast it is, how late it is, and what's the stop it was at most recently. And it's fun. I like looking at it. I have no shame. I'll look at this site for fun, kill time, look at the trains, updates every couple of minutes, and see the trains move around. I mean, that stuff just interests me. There was a site also. People still use this stuff. I think it's called flightradar.com or something. And shows you all the planes, where all the airplanes are going around. And you can see how fast they're going, their altitude, etc. This is no different. It's just with trains. So I'm looking around right now. Oh, there's the number 80 train, the Palmetto. Or that's actually the Carolinian going to New York. The auto train, they're late as hell. They're 6 hours late. Feel bad for the passengers there. Crescent to New Orleans, they're doing good. 5 minutes late at Lynchburg. What else do we got here? The 58, they're heading up to Chicago, 60 miles per hour. Greenwood, Mississippi. And I'll look at this stuff, and it kills time. It's fun for me. Probably boring to most people, but I enjoy it. One of those little silly things that I do. I'll look around. Look at all the trains going around. Silly, I know. So there's that. What else? There's that. And I'll do that for fun. Otherwise, I'll still, listen to the shortwave. There's something I wanted to talk about. What is it? What is it? What did I want to talk about? Shoot. Well, I can talk about this since it came on my mind right now. Thrift stores, if you aren't aware, I'm a thrift store shopper. I feel like I talked about this in the last show, and if I did, pardon my repetitiveness. But if you don't know, I'm a thrift store shopper. I don't get all my clothing from thrift stores, but I certainly get some from these establishments. And every time I bring up thrift stores, I'm going to reinforce the point. A lot of people, for one reason or another, like to insult thrift stores and the people that shop at them. I've noticed that. And if you have shopped, I don't know, maybe you've seen the same stigma. Maybe not. It's just because I have dozens and dozens of people that comment on the videos and leave their feedback, I'm more likely to get some hate and criticism. But I got, whenever I mention a thrift store, people try to use it as an insult, You got your suits from a thrift store, as if there's something wrong with that. And it's just a petty insult, that's all. But a lot of people try to use that as an insult, and I don't know why. I suppose it's supposed to be accusing you, calling you poor, and supposed to, I guess, be saying, hey, what, are you too poor to shop anywhere else? Because that makes you a loser, because you shop at a thrift store with all the poor people. I don't know what their insult, I don't know what that's trying to achieve. Is it supposed to be calling me out that I don't buy $1,200 suits from Brooks Brothers, and instead I decide to save that $1,200 to buy food for the month, or pay for travel, or save it up so I can eventually buy an apartment one day? Instead I should be blowing all my money, everything I have in my savings on these suits from Brooks Brothers. I don't get it. If you find something that's dirt cheap and you like it, then why don't you buy it? If you want to buy it and it's extremely cheap and you like it, what's wrong with buying it? Nothing. That's the answer. These are just people that are going to insult you for anything that they can find. Heck, if I blew $1,200 on a Brooks Brothers suit, those same exact people that criticize me for shopping at a thrift store find something else. Brooks Brothers? You blew $1,200 on a Brooks Brothers suit? Jesus Christ, that's the worst brand out there. You should have bought a $3,000 Ralph Lauren suit, Or You name it. That suit looks horrible. It's $12,000. The cut of that is awful. You'll always find something. So number one, ignore those people. Number two, thrift stores can be a wonderful place full of joy and happiness and excitement. Maybe that's a bit of an exaggeration, though the excitement certainly isn't. I remember the last time I was at the thrift store. I was at a Goodwill shopping around. The employees were checking out the changing rooms, and they found a nice glass in there filled to the brim with urine, and they were all flipping out over that. So that's what I mean by excitement. You always get fun stuff like that happens. No, that's disgusting, but it was amusing. Considering that they have a bathroom accessible to the public as well. But anyways, though, thrift stores can be fun. And one of my favorite things about thrift stores, number one is the price. It's awesome how inexpensive a lot of this stuff is. And number two, because I have such an affinity for the past, it's such a wonderful experience to be able to go around these stores and find suits still on the rack from the eras that I love. And to be able to still see suits being sold from these seemingly bygone eras for affordable prices. So that's wonderful, number one. I love looking at all the different styles. Looking at the ties, the pants, even some of the shirts. Another favorite thing I like to do, a lot of these thrift stores, they don't only sell clothing, of course, but they also sell little electronics and other wares. And I always enjoy going over and seeing if they have any old radios there, too. And that's always fun to look around at as well. And it's just fun. I like it a lot. Right now, I've been going on a quest at these thrift stores. Not to attain any suits, because I'm good with that for now. Right now, I only have in my possession about 6 or 7 different suits. Which for me isn't a lot. And I've only had these 6 or 7 suits to rotate through over a couple months now. I have probably about 35 other suits in different locations. I have a bunch at one place up north, another in another batch in another place up north, and I need to consolidate them all and bring them down here. And so suits aren't what I'm looking for, because if I got more suits, I'd be completely out of closet space once I get the rest down here. What I'm looking for is wing collar shirts and vests. And let me tell you, vests, I mean, you wouldn't believe how hard it is to find a good vest at a thrift store. It is a trial to find a good vest at a thrift store. It is shocking. Because I look around, and I want to wear more Victorian, Edwardian era style outfits. You know, actually, I'm going to talk about wing collars in a little bit. But with these outfits, I need vests, and I need the appropriate wing collar shirts to wear. And right now, I have 2 wing collar shirts in my possession. The second shirt needs to have a button repaired, so that one's even out of commission, so I only have 1 wing collar shirt. I have that. Once the other one gets fixed, then I'll have 2. And then I also have a detachable wing collar down here, but the corresponding shirt is 1,000 miles away, so that one's out of commission. And then I have a 4th wing collar shirt that's again thousands of miles away. So I just have this 1 wing collar shirt, so I'm looking for more. There are shirts, you can fit them in the closet easier. You could even put 2 or 3 to a hanger if needed, consolidate space. Those are a bit easier to find, because a lot of people come here to retire. And they don't need those shirts anymore. They don't need those wing collar shirts anymore. They're not going to any formal events anymore. They're done with that. They're done with dressing that. So they'll donate them to the thrift stores. So I come across a few. I haven't found any in my size yet, but I'm still diligently looking. But what's the hardest to find and most disappointing is the vests. I look around in these stores, and some of the thrift stores have a specific section for the vests. Otherwise, they're just mixed in there with the men's suits. So what I always do first is I always look at the suits. I go down the whole rack. I open the jacket, look in, see if they put a vest. Because sometimes they'll put in a three-piece suit and people will pick them apart. Take the vest, take the pants, or buy the whole suit. So sometimes if I see a three-piece suit I like, say the jacket and pants don't fit, but the vest does, then I'll take the vest, maybe. Nothing wrong with that. Someone still has themselves a good two-piece business suit, you know? Or a lounge suit, or whatever they want to do with it. Or buy a suit and go for the Miami Vice look. Or wear a suit and, I don't know, do whatever they want with it. It's theirs to buy. So, I'll look through the suits first. And that is met only with mixed success. Because very rarely have I found the three-piece suit. And when I do, it's from the disco era in the 70s. Isn't that I say, oh boy. Disappointment. So it's these disco era three-piece suits, these vests, and this terrible 70s polyester still. So those are not a buy. And they're in these really weird colors too, you know. This tan with these white stripes, this light blue white stripes, orange, light green, you know, white. Nothing I'd be caught dead in. And I keep looking. And this is all from experiences that I've found. Then you keep looking and maybe you'll get lucky. Wow, look. It's a dark gray pinstripe three-piece suit. Hey, I'd wear that vest. That looks great. You hold it up. Oh, thing's made for a 14-year-old. Yeah, you're 14 years old. No, I'm not. Too small. Okay, well, there goes my hopes and dreams. So let's see what else there is. Here's a vest in itself. It's black. Let's take a look at this. 100% spandex. That's weird. I didn't even know they made vests like that. Okay, that's just... Not gonna wear that. Okay, let's put that one back. It's odd. Hey, a solid dark gray vest. Try it on. Fits like a glove. Wonderful. Wait a minute. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh shoot. Supposed to be 5 buttons and one of them's gone. And it's right in the middle too. It's not the bottom button. Can't wear that one then. It's destroyed. Put it back. So you're walking down the aisle, you're still looking. I'm not going to give up. You know, I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to give this up. I'm diligent. I want to find a vest. You're walking. Getting close to the end of the menswear section. Now you're getting desperate. A cold sweat is breaking out upon your entire body. You begin trembling. And you just hope. You hope. Come on. Please let there be a vest at the end of this aisle. Don't let all these efforts be for nothing. Then you see it. Just barely visible. The very end. Tucked away behind this giant 70s suit jacket. You see the very tippy top of this vest. solid black vest. It looks very promising. You grab the one half of the vest, you look, solid black. Wow, this is great. So you take it off its hanger, and you lift it up and begin to examine it. That's when it hits you. You realize that this vest, one half of it is solid black, and the other half of it is this weird pinstripe pattern. So half of it is a solid color, the other half is a pinstripe. It's not a reversible vest, it's just one side is pinstriped. So say the right side's pinstriped, the left is solid black. You let out a sigh, and then the profanities begin. You slam the damn thing on the ground, and the manager comes over and says, "Hey, listen, get the hell out of my store, or I'm calling the cops." And then you go, and that's your day, going to the thrift stores. But you keep coming back, because you know one day, hey, it's going to get better. You're going to find that vest. You will. You're going to find that wing collar shirt one day. Thrift stores, though. I exaggerated that a little bit. But, all those vests are legitimate ones that I looked at and was disappointed by. So it is what it is, you know. It's like a treasure hunt, you know. You gotta have that mentality. You can't go in there expecting that you're gonna find what you want the first couple of times, but you look and you have some fun with it, because you never know what you're gonna get. I like that. I think it's a fun thing. And I found quite a lot of good things at thrift stores. I have. I found some wonderful suits, some wonderful drapey, triple pleated dress pants, wide leg, heck. The pants I'm wearing right now, the gray ones, that picture you see, that's from a thrift store, obviously. You find good stuff in there sometimes. You gotta search for it, and you're not gonna find something every time. You're not. That's how it is. Yeah, you really do, though. What else have I gotten from a thrift store? It's great. Of course, dress pants again. Haven't gotten a coat. There are some, but I don't need a coat. That's why I didn't get one. You know? Oh, dress shirts. I've gotten some dress shirts. One time, and this is a good shirt. It was it's like one of those 80s, you know, 80s, I call them 80s Wall Street businessman shirts, where it's like a deep blue in color, but the cuffs and the collar are white, contrast French cuffs and collar. That's always a great shirt. I enjoy that one. I usually wear that with like a 6x1 double-breasted suit and go for like the 80s, 90s business look. And ties, of course. Ties galore. Sometimes, I haven't done this recently, but sometimes if I'm really going to be in there for a long time, I'll bring a small pocket radio and listen with headphones. And just listen to some stations while I'm shopping around, especially if the music that they're playing in the store isn't good. If it's good, I'll listen to that, but if not, I'll gladly listen to whatever WRMI or Radio Havana, Cuba, or Radio Marti, or whatever international broadcasters I can pick up. Whatever they're broadcasting, I'll listen to that instead. I'll shop around, you know. See what you can find. And then, of course, there's a whole different world. Thrifting in order to resell. That's for a whole different day to talk about there. You know, where you don't have to just look around in these thrift stores for something that you want. You can look at something to resell and make a profit on, you know. That's entirely possible. What's that person yelling about? You hear that? Probably yelling for their pets or something, probably. Ran off again. The third time today. I think that's what I have to talk about. Anything else? No, I don't think so. Don't think so. But who knows? Give me a minute here. Let me see this. Hold on. I apologize about that. I got an email that I had to respond to right away, so I apologize. I do. Speaking of, just due to how things were, I wasn't able to respond to the amount of emails that I wanted to, and I apologize, and if you don't get a response in this program, again, there's nothing against resending the email, and maybe I'll get to it in the next one. So, no worries. Let's go on to the radio segment now, since I'm exhausted of other topics. The only thing that I have to talk about right now in the radio segment pertains to the VORW shortwave program. And it'll provide an update about it. How the last program was received. And how to receive this program. So first and foremost, to all those of you who gave financial support to the program, number one, I thank you. I personally thank you. Specifically, I'm addressing Kyle, Becky and Koki Hansen, Christian, Miranda, Braxton, and Andrew, all of you. Thank you so very much for your financial support for the radio broadcast. It's because of your help that, at this point, exclusively keeps this program on the air, so thank you very much. And you will all be graciously thanked for it on the air, not to worry. So as a result of your support, number one, the good news is that the WBCQ broadcast to North America will continue onwards for an additional 8 weeks. So we're going to be on the air until March on WBCQ, and that's great. And with that being said, that means the shortwave version of the VORW program will continue until then, granted. Something to look forward to each week. And shortwave coverage of North America is alright. Now granted, North America is a big continent, so not all of it can be covered, unfortunately, with this station. But especially as the spring starts coming in, you're really going to see an improvement in reception, especially in eastern North America, and eventually you'll see on the eastern seaboard the signals are really going to get good there. And number two, what I got some suggestions from listeners. A lot of listeners in Europe, especially in the UK, France, Germany, and I mean especially the UK and Ireland, but also in France, Germany, and also throughout Scandinavia as well. A lot of listeners in Europe said, not only do they listen online, of course there's the flexibility in listening to these VORWs, you can listen at any time. They enjoyed the shortwave VORWs, but the timing was a bit late in Europe, and that's to be understood, and their requests were heard. So what I decided to do is expand the program a little bit, and I now will be offering a broadcast to listeners in Europe as well, and also perhaps if any North American listeners want to listen, they can do so via the web SDRs or online, and they can do so you know, at a different time. Say you're busy at 8 p.m. on the Thursdays, now you can tune into this a bit earlier, maybe, if you're interested in that. And it'll be the same program, and it just gives people more flexibility in order to listen. Okay, so that's the good news right there. Okay, that's good news. Certainly is. And that's where it stands right now. So you might be wondering, well, okay, how can I listen to the European broadcast? So I'll tell you how to listen to both shows, and then I'll tell you how the North American broadcast this week was received. Number one, the timing. The time of this broadcast to Europe is at 1800 UTC. That equates to 1 p.m. Eastern Time. It would be 6 p.m. in London, 7 p.m. in Paris and Berlin, 8 p.m. in Bucharest, 9 p.m. in Moscow. The frequency is 6070 kilohertz, and it is being broadcast to Europe from Europe. I'm using a European-based transmitter with a power of 25 kilowatts, and it provides adequate coverage of the European continent. If you have a shortwave listener and you listen direct, you will be able to receive the broadcast. 1800 UTC, especially in this broadcast band, the 49-meter band, it is a very popular time to broadcast, and many signals are well received. And again, the frequency, 6070 kilohertz to Europe. Okay? That's the frequency, 6070. Easy number, 6070. 6070. So if you have a shortwave radio and you're in the European continent, tune it to that frequency, and you ought to pick up the broadcast well. You can probably even listen indoors. Position the antenna again by the window if you're having trouble picking it up, or if the weather is okay, you can listen outside as well. Or string a wire antenna, add foil to the antenna as well, and if not, you can always listen online. But say you don't have a shortwave radio. How can I listen to this radio station online using an internet connection? The situation for the European broadcast is a little bit different than the North American one, but it's actually easier. And this one, you're going to be able to enjoy in all its analog glory, because it's actually the easiest way to listen, and the signal is usually consistently strong. Though chances are, you can find a digital stream as well, but this is just the easiest way right now. Here's how you do it. Alright, say it's 5:55 p.m. in London, and you want to tune into the broadcast. You know, it's 17:55 UT. Here's what you do. Go to this website, www.channel292.de. See the screenshot of it? There's the URL, channel292.de. You go there. I know the website is alright. And you'll see, and I had to really circle this box, but you see it there, where it's circled in this image. It says, click here to listen live on shortwave. So what do? Mouse over to it, and click on it. Alright, so what happens next? Oh, hey, you're familiar with this, and this does all the work for you. Look at that. Hear the static right there? They're done. Here's what happens exactly. You click on this button. It says, click here to listen live on shortwave. You click on it. What does it do? Opens up one of these online shortwave receivers, automatically tunes you to their frequency, and automatically sets it to AM mode. Isn't that convenient? Because I certainly think that it is. And that's all you need to do. One click of a button, and you'll be listening live on the air, just like that. That was easy, wasn't it? There's my little photo instruction. You can rewind it. You can see it there. So easy to listen. Alright, you'll be able to listen live on shortwave. Okay. Be able to hear all the bells and whistles if you're into that. You know, You'll be able to hear it in the analog quality. You'll get everything you ever dreamed of, and you could enjoy that. And then after that, you can play around. I mean, some of you might even know that site already from previous lectures, or you might have gone there looking for the buzzer, or you might have tuned to 8992, listening to the EAMs, you know. I know some of you are familiar with that site already. That's the famous WebSDR right there, and you can use that to listen to the European broadcast. And you can give that a go and let me know how it works over, at least, and again, your thoughts are duly appreciated. Alright, but say you prefer, you're interested in the WBCQ broadcast, you like listening via the tune-in, or you are in North America. The timing remains unchanged. It's a little bit later in the day at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, 5 p.m. Pacific Time. That equates to 1 a.m. London time in London. The frequency is 7490 kilohertz, and that's beamed to North America. Now, granted, I found an interesting observation, and I don't know if this holds true for every week, or they just did this as a little special thing last week, but keep an eye out for this, okay? If you are interested in listening via shortwave, check the frequency of 7490, okay? That's the frequency, of course, 7490. WBCQ ever so kindly relayed me last week on one of their other transmitters at the same time, free of charge. It would usually cost an additional $30, and they did it for free. Well, they just did it. I guess they're just a good station like that. I don't know if it was just a one-off thing, or if this is going to be every week, but keep an eye out for it. I can't guarantee reception on this, but at the time of 8 p.m. Eastern, and if you want to listen on shortwave, you can now listen on 7490 kilohertz, and if you don't receive that, you can also try 5130 kilohertz. Alright? I can't promise reception on that frequency, but give it a go anyways, because I picked up both of those last week at my own location right here, so it doesn't hurt to try. So to North America, 7490 and 5130. How can you listen to that? You have three ways. WBCQ.com. Click on the link on the left over there, listen live. Then there's a top one that I have circled in this image. MP3 player. Download that, and you're good to go. If you're looking for more of an easy way to listen, you can simply type into Google, WBCQ TuneIn. You'll be greeted with a live stream of digital quality audio that you can listen to at your leisure. It'll be crystal clear and sharp and enjoyable, hopefully. And finally, if you want to listen via shortwave, of course you have your own receiver that you can try the two of those frequencies, 5130, 7490. And if you're also interested, okay, if you're also interested, you can look at these links here, and finally I got around to updating them. Check these receivers. Input these links, it'll lead you to an online shortwave receiver like the one you would listen to the European broadcast on. This one you have to manually type it in, but it's fairly easy. In the little box there that's circled, once you reach the receiver, you'll see a screen that looks like this. You'll hear the radio static. In that box that's circled there, type in 7490, press enter, and hit the little button that also is circled that says AM. If you hear a signal, then that's obviously my station. And if you don't hear anything on that, in the first box where you entered 7490, now you can type in 5130, see if you pick up something there. Again, if you do, you do. If you don't, you don't. There's a number of receivers to try on, and if all else fails, of course, then there's always listening via the TuneIn or the MP3 stream. I wanted, and maybe this will come in the future, I wanted to expand coverage to the western portions of North America, because it seems WBCQ serves some of the eastern and southern parts of North America the best. But I know there's listeners out there that use shortwave that are in western parts of North America, such as the western states in the US and western Canada. And coverage there on shortwave hasn't been excellent, and I wanted to expand on that a little bit, but unfortunately WRMI, the station that I was thinking about going with to just expand the service, they increased their rate, and that's no good. They used to be almost $40 an hour. That's all right. Now they raised it to $60 an hour. I said, forget that. You know, that's too much. And the reason why they raised their airtime rate is because WRMI Radio stands for Radio Miami International. They're out of Okeechobee, Florida. Their main client was Brother Stair, Brother R.G. Stair. You've heard his voice on the shortwave if you listen, guaranteed. My radio's over here, let me grab it real quick. Let me get it. There it is. You've heard his voice. I can tune him in a matter of seconds. Let's do this. Otherwise, I'll gladly welcome you to him. He's a very familiar voice on the shortwaves. He's an old preacher. Dominates the airwaves. There he is. This is what he sounds like here.
Powered by prestige in every nation in the world, even in China and Cuba.
You can easily discern him by his old raspy voice. He's a terrible person. He is. Sex offender. Scammer. Potentially even resulted in some questionable deaths. Now he's old. Now out of his prime. He's in his 80s now. Still owns a compound in South Carolina where his loyal followers gave up everything that they own to live there with him. And he's a bad person. I think, at least. Anyway, he collects their Social Security checks and financial contributions and uses them to buy airtime on shortwave and other AM/FM stations. And one of the biggest stations that he was on was WRMI. And he was on roughly 10 transmitters of theirs, 24 hours a day. And maybe I mentioned this briefly in the last show. But he was on their station 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, on 10 transmitters, which resulted in, over time, millions of dollars coming into the station. And almost all of these broadcasts on 10 frequencies were all being beamed to almost the exact same place. That was North America. And I guess he wasn't getting a lot of reception reports and letters about these broadcasts. So he thought, well, okay, I'm going to quit. I'm going to quit it. I'm going to discontinue all these broadcasts. So he got rid of all these transmissions except for 4. And as a result, it was a real heavy loss of revenue to this station, WRMI. And now they feel that the only way they can compensate is by increasing their airtime rate to make up for the losses. But I think that's only going to drive away potential customers and earn them, you know. I was almost a potential customer, and then I saw, you know, $60 an hour. Forget that. You know. Forget that. For just $20 more, then, heck, I could broadcast to Asia and reach some of the biggest shortwave audiences in the world still. So, I said no, get that. I tried WCR. They come in pretty good in the West. They charge $160 an hour, dropped. WTWW tried to get a hold of old Ted Randall, who lately has just been leaving the transmitter on with a blank carrier, no audio, wasting airtime there. Tried to contact him 3 times, no response, so I feel no remorse in saying that. And that's a shame, because WTWW 5085, I've heard, comes in very nicely in the western parts of the continent. That's great, but they didn't get back. KVOH in California, that would be a great place to broadcast out of for the West. 100 kilowatts, I think. No response. I think their transmitter isn't even working anyways. So, while I still look around and shop around, this is what we have. And as the saying goes, when you don't succeed at first, try again. That's why I'm going to update that list of receivers if you're interested in tuning in North America. And otherwise, hey, tune-in's very reliable. Online streams, they're reliable as long as the internet's working. So, that's where that stands. The first broadcast to Europe will begin not this Thursday, but the next. So the first program will air on January 19th, the second to Europe on the 26th, and the third on February 2nd. No matter which broadcast that you hear, of course, feedback, comments, and just general statements regarding the program can be sent to the email of vorwinfo@gmail.com. That's vorwinfo@gmail.com. So the broadcast to Europe will not start this Thursday, but the Thursday after that. And the reason why I want to do that, because I want to make sure that your money goes to good use. So I want to check this Thursday, I want to observe the frequency at this time of 1800 UTC. And I want to make sure that there's no interference from adjacent stations. Okay? I want to make sure that the signal will come in crisp and clear. I want to make sure that there's no interfering stations on the frequency of 6070 or any nearby ones. That's why, so I don't jump the gun and waste your time and money. And if I do find that there's a real big problem on that time, then hey, I'll update you next week, and if not, I'll confirm it. And listeners in Europe, you'll have something to listen to then. So that's where that stands for the radio segment. That's all I have. Next up, letters. Letters of all shapes and sizes. We're going to get to those right now. You're listening to VORW, the voice of the Report of the Week. You're listening to VORW, the voice of the Report of the Week, and this now begins the letter segment, the fan mail segment, where I read and respond to your letters, whatever they may be. Any letters sent my way will be read and responded to. Of course, if you don't want the letter read on air, please mention that. Please mention that it is not for air, that it's personal, that it's private, something to that extent, because I don't want to accidentally read your letter when you didn't want to hear it read publicly, and I have a very, very great respect for privacy, so just let me know, let me know that you don't want it read, and that's fine, okay? And if you want a specific written reply, and this mostly goes for the radio-related emails, which, again, I've unfortunately haven't gotten to many, It's a shame. I mean, I haven't gotten to reply to many. I have a lot of emails to reply to, but I haven't. But still, if you want a written reply, go ahead and ask. There's nothing wrong with doing that. Doesn't hurt. Okay. Anyway, we have a selection of emails here in the Rep Week Interview 1 address, and a selection of emails in the VORW Info address. And barely anything in the YouTube inbox. It seems like the YouTube messaging system is almost dead, and email is the place to be, folks. So hop aboard that train while the getting's good, as I say. Okay. Now let's continue on here. This guy he wrote, he said, I initially wrote this through the message system on YouTube, but then I realized how hard it is to receive messages on there, so I'm sending it here instead. Oh, great. Absolutely great. Great. Dear Mr. Report of the Week, my name is Donald. I recently subscribed to you through a friend who mentioned how, quote, unique, end quote, your channel was. A screenshot of your spring water versus filtered tap water was circulating, and I was like, who is this guy? I think myself, such as many other subscribers. I find great interest in your channel because, yes, it is unique. You wear suits for every review and say that it is your everyday wear. Also, the contrast between wearing such nice suits to fast food is different, but interesting. I don't know how to describe your channel, but I can see why many are drawn to it, as myself, different is good. The reason I'm writing this message, though, is in response to the program number 137 of VORW, where you talk about social anxiety. I can very much relate to that, as I was diagnosed with social anxiety and also have Asperger's syndrome when I was in middle school. I'm 25 years old now. I've come a long way with my diagnosis, but I write to you to say that I can definitely relate. I'm not going to assume what issues you have, but I can relate to the issues of big crowds, thinking people are negatively judging me, etc. And I'll assume, though, that wearing your suits is a form of comfort in public, something that helps with the anxiety. Could be wrong, though. I write also to give you massive props for being very open-minded about it. Some of your fans may respond with judgment, but others like myself will respond with complete support. I know you're not saying that you want to be a voice for people who struggle with anxiety and such, but, as you mentioned, people have sent you admirable messages, and I'm sure you've really helped people, whether you realize it or not. Initially, when I saw your videos, I thought you were a troll, but I see now that you are the definition of an individual who's made a name for himself on YouTube. You aren't doing this to troll, but I do enjoy the subtle humor, and I'm sure a lot of this is a reflection of who you are. That's right. I know some YouTubers personally who put on a big persona where it doesn't even remotely reflect them as a person, so I'm not sure where this message is going other than just showing a word of support. You keep being you, because we can always use a bit more of an embrace for individuality in this country. Best regards from Donald. Donald, thank you. Thank you for your letter, and I think you hit the nail on the head, buddy. I think you did. You're absolutely right. One thing, and in YouTube, I know people who like to watch all the big YouTubers, you know. I mean, I'm talking million plus. I think this is a small channel, honestly. I think it is. Compared to, like, insert YouTuber with 1 million plus subscribers here. Bigger than those channels. And I know someone that likes to watch some of those big YouTubers, and on occasion I'll glance and check out these people's channels myself, and then I don't know. I don't know why they have the amount of subscribers that they do. You know, I guess it's just like the next definition of reality TV, where the name is such a joke, you know? There's nothing real about it. Nothing. It's very high production and faked. You know, I realize none of that drama is real. Never was. Never has been, nor will it be. Most of these adventures are a load of bull. or they're done with money that people were able to essentially just scam through by manipulating the audience into thinking that there's someone else, you know, by making up a fake persona, I mean. Just so overdone. So in your face. I don't watch YouTube for anything else than music for the most part. Music and sometimes some funny videos, like prank call videos. Those are pretty funny sometimes, and some shortwave related stuff, and otherwise it's music, and that's it. Because for whatever reason, for me, those real fake personalities, they bother me. And I don't watch them as a result. Now, to every rule, there are exceptions. And there are a few big YouTubers out there who are completely genuine. And those people I respect. I can't name any off the top of my head, but I know they're out there. I know they exist. And to those people, they do have my utmost respect for being able to make it work. So that's great. But most of them are just very, very fake, inflated personalities. You know? Hello. Just had to write in and tell you how much you made my day with this VORW show. I had such a stressful week, and seeing the picture I took and sent to you as the thumbnail made me so happy. I'm going to send you some more, and you obviously don't have to post them, but if you need any fillers in the program, well, you'll have plenty. I relate 100% with your social anxiety, and I feel the same, and I'm happy to be alone and stay inside for many days, actually. I'd like to have a list of questions to ask, but after listening to almost all your VRW shows, I feel like I know most things about you, but maybe next time I'll have something. Keep doing your thing. Thank you very much for writing, and thank you for the pictures. Certainly there is room enough to feature a few of them in this one. Not to worry. So they'll make it in. So thank you for that, and I'm glad you enjoyed the social anxiety talk. I know it's something that I don't talk about too often in the programs, but it's something that I experience quite often. I didn't experience any today because I didn't even go anywhere. I didn't even leave, you know, just stayed in. But if I'm going somewhere, and you know, then chances are, you never know, to some degree. Either that, or to petty worries that just run my mind, and therefore my life. So it's one or the other, but it all comes down to anxiety and the different classifications thereof. Again, thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed the talk, and thank you once again for the pictures. Jared from Australia simply wanted to write in, said he's listening to the shortwave program, and enjoys it. He says, cheers from Australia. Thank you, Jared. Thank you. This next letter. Hey, John. I just wanted to write and say how much I enjoyed both VORW number 137 and the shortwave broadcast. Hope you enjoyed the Depeche Mode I requested. Thanks for playing it. I'm already looking forward to next Thursday's broadcast, and I've already sent in a new request. I will have a good one for you for each broadcast. You can count on it, buddy. As for 137, it hit home with me, particularly the first part with the social anxiety, as I myself suffer from it. And unfortunately, with my job, I have to deal with the public far more than I prefer, and I hate it. I'm an introvert by nature, and I hate big crowds and being around lots of people. I don't go out much other than work, and because of it, and to be honest, I have no interest in having kids or getting married. Most people probably think that's weird, but it's a personal choice, and I'm content, and I prefer to be alone. I keep to myself, for the most part, and that's fine by me. Just wanted to let you know that I can relate, and I got your back. I hope my donation helped, and I will donate again as soon as I can. I'll catch you on the next go-around. Take care, man. Your old pal, Brax. Well, thank you, Brax. Thank you for your letter. Thank you for writing. And, you're right about those big crowds. That is, you know, oh boy, that is nerve-wracking. Nerve-wracking. I can relate. Now, yeah, it's draining. I mean, for many people, for most people, going out and about and dealing with these crowds actually energizes people. And for me, it would sometimes puzzle me. I'd say, how can you go out and do that and actually have more energy than when you began? But to some, that's what they do. They feed off of that all. And I've never been that way. Never ever have. By even simply just going out and going to these crowds and you name it, I'm done. I oftentimes just feel exhausted. And some people, they don't get it. They're, oh boy, there's got to be something wrong with you to be that tired after just this. But everyone's different, and you got to remember that. But for sure, those crowds, that's always fun. Quote, sarcastically said. To have to pass through them. Never an enjoyable experience. But I have some coping mechanisms and means of trying to deal with it. And that's what there is. Our next letter. Hey there, report of the week. Hope your day is going quite lovely. I loved the year in review on the recent show. 2016 is the year I began watching your channel. Late to the party, I know. My cousin found one of your videos posted to the Deep Into YouTube subreddit. And from there on, I've been watching. I can't say I frequent fast food establishments, but something about how you keep it real, and in one take, in combination of their sensible style and constant dry humor, to lighten the mood of our ever so dim and dreary world, has got me hooked. I think you are a true rare soul in today's world, and I applaud you for staying true to yourself, keeping a positive outlook. Something I strive for, and you help inspire on bad days. I tried to tune into the latest VORW program on shortwave radio. It was my first time tuning in, and I have to say you've really sparked an interest in shortwave for me. I enjoyed spending the past week playing around on some of the web SDRs, although I was quite frustrated when I came to be Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern. I couldn't really find a good SDR with clear audio on 7490. I tried one of the Kiwi receivers earlier in the evening and heard some music, and I stopped listening, only to come back and have nothing on air during the program. I tried a different number of ones with no luck, and my laptop doesn't support the MP3 radio streaming, so I wasn't able to listen via the WBCQ website either. It was disappointing, as I was really looking forward to hearing the music requests and your entertaining ramblings. I know most of the music you play on your program is per viewer request, but I do have some questions. What sort of music do you personally enjoy listening to? What would your pick be if you were to request a song? Anyway, thank you for your content. Wishing you the very best in 2017. I personally have a feeling it will be an incredible year. Signing off from Heather. Heather, thank you for writing, and thank you for your message and kind words and feedback. The VORW show, at that point, since you'd essentially have shortwave to go off of. I know in North America the signals can be a little iffy, but remember, 8 p.m. on Thursdays, try out 7490, that doesn't come in good, 5130, so 5130 as a backup, or 7490. I updated the list of the receivers now, so you can check those out. Maybe there'll be a good one. And on a final note, of course, you can still listen, even though you're not in Europe, or maybe you are in Europe, no matter what. There's the broadcast, of course, to the continent on 6070, which will be starting next Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern. And you can still listen to that. You can still give that a shot if your schedule works out, and it, if you're able to pick that one up, give it a shot. No harm in trying, right? That's what they always say. No harm in trying. Again, thank you, and if you are able, to pick up the show. Hope you enjoy it. Hey, Review Bra. Firstly, congratulations on your newfound and over-deserved popularity on YouTube. I'm a longtime fan of yours, and was actually introduced to your channel through a friend when he sent you a message and you gave us a shout-out one of your VORW shows a few years ago. Since then, been religiously following you ever since. I really love your simple-styled content, and always make sure to watch/listen to them whenever they come out. The fact that you don't excessively edit your videos makes for a real experience when compared to some of the other YouTubers and their fake personas and jump cuts, etc. Interjection, I totally agree. I mentioned that a couple minutes ago, and again, I just have to say I agree with you, especially the jump cuts too. It's one thing, but irks me. Continuing, and after listening to your most recent VORW 137, I just wanted to shoot you a message and say how much I appreciate your work, and that I hope your family troubles will soon become a thing of the past. I'm sorry they're not. I wish, and maybe one day they will be. He continues, I also understand you perceive your social anxiety to be a large issue in your life. I like to say that from my perspective, I feel like I've watched you develop into a confident man over the years, and I hope you're not letting it get you too down. Your progress, in my eyes at least, has been incredible to watch, unfold, and I'm so pleased that you're starting to make it into the big leagues on YouTube. For your channel to grow into one with over 150,000 subs from less than 50k in 2016 was great, so happy for you. I'm sure I may have the whole situation very wrong. It's not my place to be commenting on your personal affairs, but I just wanted to show you my appreciation for what you do. Stay safe, Review Bra, an old and ever loyal fan. I'm glad to have you here, and thank you for writing. And I'm glad you enjoyed the channel. I really am. I myself, and it's interesting, perhaps from an outsider point of view, maybe it's more obvious or evident, but in terms of my anxieties and perception, at least of it, you know, I see no change in it at all from 2011. But that doesn't mean that there actually wasn't any change. That's just how I see it. But then again, I can't just take a little copy of myself from 6 years ago and put it in the same situation today and see how it reacts. I can't do that. This is just off of how my mind sees things. But many people, and you're not the only one to have said this, said that they do notice an improvement over time. And if that's the case, thank you. Again, I'm glad you enjoyed the channel and everything on it. And again, thank you for your support, kind words, and comments, and I wish you all the very best. Let's carry on here. Let's see what else we have. Let's go. Let's do this. Alright, our next letter in the mailbag here, it reads, Hey Review Bra, love your channel and the VORW. Now oddly enough, I haven't eaten fast food in almost 7 years now, but I still watch all your reviews. My dog Jasmine passed away recently, and I've been feeling pretty down, but I was able to feel a bit better by listening to your latest VORW. She was a golden retriever, and would have been 13 years old in May of this year. I had a couple questions for you. Are you a dog person? If so, could you talk about any dogs you've owned? And I know you mentioned that 4 people unsubscribed from your channel recently after uploading a VORW show. Are you aware of the recent YouTube controversy where some people find that they've been unsubscribed from channels without their knowledge, Also, I know video games aren't really your thing, but I just wanted to say that VORW is the perfect background listening for some online games and that's primarily how I listen to your show. All the best, Brandon. Brandon, thank you. Thank you, Brandon. And, well, number one, in terms of the dog person, I guess part of the rare breed, right? I like cats and dogs. And recently I've had the chance to be with both. As a matter of fact, there's a cat right over here. Hello, kitten. Hi, kitten. It's a good cat. He's been picking fights with some of the other ones, but he's still a good little kitten. He's a good little kitten. And he likes me too. He's a smoky gray cat, very friendly. He's a good kitten. And dogs, they're fine too. I mean, it's two different, unique, types of personalities, I think. And I like them both. Maybe it's a cop-out answer, but I like them both. And that's just my thoughts. Some rain's starting to come down, so we'll stay here, but if it becomes too much, I'll move. What else here? VORW fan mail letter. Been loving the very regular VORW shows lately. Thank you for the hours of enjoyment and relaxation. Also, I have to say that I like the quality of these latest VORWs a lot. No, not that the other ones aren't as good. Sorry. But lately, the past few VORWs have reminded me of some of the 2014 VORWs for some reason. Hard to explain exactly why, but maybe a few other listeners understand. The letter continues. For example, when I was able to when you were able to thoughtfully talk about your own life experiences, it was interesting to hear you discuss such topics, such as anxiety and your negative experiences last year. Speaking of which, since you mentioned it, I do remember the threads on multiple 4chan boards being spammed about you, and they were pretty damn annoying, and I'm glad that I don't see them anymore, and hopefully these troubles for you have passed. Anyway, hope you will have a good new year. I have one question to wrap things up. In the new location you're at, do you ever go in the ocean? Not necessarily for swimming, but for the general scenery and or atmosphere. Well, thank you for writing. Thank you for your message. It looks like the rain has already stopped, so it's just a very, very quick little shower. Number one, I'm glad that you like the newer VORW shows. Glad you do. And number two, in terms of the... I don't really go to the ocean too much. I've been there a few times, but never to swim. Just to go there. I didn't swim, I didn't lounge on the beach or anything. It was mostly during dusk. And I gotta say, radio reception is good on the beach. It actually is. Very, very good reception, because it's the signals just coming straight over the Atlantic. Right there. So good signals there. But it's nothing frequent. I haven't been to any sort of beach in months. And I have no shame in admitting that I was wearing a full shirt and tie, shoes, everything, while I was there. Continuing. Oh, let's see what we got. Here we go. Hey, Review Bro, I've written in once before, but it was during the chaotic summer months, and I'm not sure it got through. In either case, I just wanted to say hello, and to voice my appreciation for the channel. I started listening sometime early last year and haven't stopped. By now, I've made it through most of your videos, and it's been great to watch the growth of you and your style in a relatively compressed window. You've come a long way, while still seeming to remain true to your essential review bra-ness. I share your videos with my co-workers and friends at every opportunity, and even visited my family over this recent holiday and put on your newest video, only to discover that my dad already knew who you were. He saw you on Tosh.0 and has watched several reviews since then. It was a great surprise. On a totally unrelated note, do you have any interest in fast food aside from reviewing? I don't eat much of it, but I'm fascinated by the history and development of the industry as a whole, and I think there's a lot to learn about American culture based on the structure of the companies, the way they advertise, and what products they produce. I even love watching the corporate training videos that have since leaked out to the world and other internet sources, and if you have some time and haven't already, I highly recommend checking them out. I'd highly recommend checking out some of that part of the world. Well, thank you for writing, Chris. Chris, thank you. Thank you for your letter. And, of course, well, the fast food industry, number one, does fascinate me. It does interest me greatly. And not only is that of great interest, number two, though, the food, of course, itself is delicious. I'm on a fast food diet. It's all that I eat. And, but I eat it, once per day, that's it. So it works out for the best. And, that always works out. But, some of those fast food training videos are quite amusing. They're quite interesting. That's what I think, at least. Thank you again for writing. One thing that I did want to mention, and I forgot to say this earlier, it seems to be a new trend with the food-related YouTubers. Whenever a new video is uploaded, for the most part, people unsubscribe. I don't know why that is. I think it's intentionally done. I think because it's the people that subscribe for the memes and get sick of it, It's happened to me a few times. Surprisingly enough, when I upload, I lose the least amount of subscribers of all the channels. Like this, when I uploaded the Panda Express review, I didn't lose any subscribers, so that's good. I still made it out with 200 subscribers gained for the day. But if you look at some competing channels, and this is purely by the statistics courtesy of Social Blade, Joey, for instance, uploaded a video Wednesday the 11th, and compared to what he usually gets, around 200, 300 subscribers, he only ended up getting 80 for the day. Look at the hourly. He must have uploaded it at 0400 hours on that day. Lost 18 subscribers, then lost 3, then 12, then 7, then another 3, then another 1. Lost almost 40 subscribers because he uploaded a video. Well, someone might say, yeah, well, maybe they just don't like. Well, then let's check out another food reviewer, KBD Productions TV. D-U-C-T-I-O-N-S TV, yeah. KBD Productions, he's got 300,000 subscribers, good-sized channel. Again, uploaded a video the other day. Lost, not as many, but lost nearly a dozen subscribers when he uploaded that video. And then, of course, Damn Drops, almost 700,000 subscribers. Channel by the name of Ghetto NN. He uploaded a video at around 1,600 hours, lost 22 subscribers, then another 3, then didn't gain any until over 3 hours later. So, I think what's starting to go on with these food-related channels, and I noticed this too, is that a lot of the people might have discovered these channels through memes or whatever, and they don't have huge attention spans, or they're not interested in the content anymore. And when they see another uploaded, they're just reminded to unsubscribe, and they do. People unsubscribed at the last VORW too. I'll mention that in the end when I read the statistics, as per usual. That's a new segment, but I don't care. Hey, shake off the losses and keep moving. That's what I say. Don't get in a big frenzy over it, though. It'll be fine. Lastly, hey Review Bra, I just wanted to say keep up the great work you do. I've heard a bunch of people on your channel, and now they have subscribed as well. My question might be a little odd, but here goes. Have you ever taken any psychedelic drugs such as LSD or mushrooms? I ask because I happened to be on one of these substances and listened to a VORW night walk, and it was one of the best experiences of my life. Be well, from James. No, I haven't, James. I'm sorry to disappoint, but I haven't taken any psychedelic drugs. So I apologize if that's not the answer that you wanted to hear, but it's the truth. I'm not one to do any drugs, but I feel that you do what you want to do, and if it was the best experience of your life, it's surely an interesting one. I never thought that I would ever, let alone a night walk, mine would ever equate to the best experience of anyone's life ever. But more power to you, if it was a wonderful experience. Well, let's see if there's any other emails here we got for the YouTube one. Let me check. Let's check this here. Lots of emails for the radio program. Great to have all of them. I had the report of the week. I wish that you'll make a broadcast to the European listeners. I mainly think that it would be wonderful to have a friendly time broadcast, so I don't have to stay up to 2 a.m. in the night to listen to your broadcast in USA, from Jonas. Jonas, thank you, and I have indeed accommodated your request, and that's great. So indeed you've done that, so that's great. 6070, the frequency there, at I believe 1800 UTC. The next letter, dear sir, VORW number 137, year in review went well. I admire your spirit of adapt and overcome, and I'm glad that you came through 2016 relatively unscathed. Watched all last year's videos, each well done. And the one that stood out to me was the Burger King Whopper dog food review. When I saw the thumbnail, I only saw a dog food review, and thought, boy, is he slamming the Whopper. Also, the Burger King Cheesy Tots review. In the thumbnail, it looked as though you were bald. You said once that you wouldn't mind losing your hair and going bald. I had a momentary panic, thinking that you shaved your head. To see it was only your fitting crown was a great relief. It doesn't take a lot to confuse me. I enjoyed your topic of trains. I've taken Amtrak from Philadelphia to South Carolina numerous times. It's the Crescent Line. As you said, they run a fine business, and it is an overlooked mode of transportation. Oh, absolutely, I agree to interject. The Crescent, the 19 and 20 trains run from New Orleans up to New York Penn Station, at all points in between. And that's a good train, one of the long-distance Amtrak trains, where you could get one of the sleeper cars if you wanted. The letter continues. To tie in the anxiety discussion as well, when I rode, it was not reserved seating. I had to worry about getting 2 seats together when traveling with my sister, and for the duration of the 13-hour trip, I never left my seat except to use the facilities if necessary. I heard about club cars, but never summoned the courage to explore, especially like the staff on board, the conductors, who call out the stops in gracious southern accents. And finally, the fan artist, the quote, under the influence, end quote, of magic mushrooms, I believe it was. I don't usually care for abstracts, but those were equal parts riveting and horrifying. Nicely done, very talented. Until next time, kind regards from Janet. Janet, thank you for writing. Thank you for your comments. And the Amtrak trains, I know I've sometimes had those worries myself, in terms of getting up from the seat and exploring the train. So what I always have learned is the best thing to do sometimes if I'm traveling light and the train isn't completely packed, what I'll do is I'll just take all my stuff and I'll just move to the cafe car, and I'll sit at a table there with everything that I have for hours, and I could easily walk right up and get something to eat. I can keep an eye on my stuff too. And if I'm feeling otherwise, if I just want to go up anyways, one thing that I learned I can do that's pretty good is to explore the train and walk around the train in between stops. So you can ask the conductor when the next stop is, how far away, and they'll sometimes say like 45 minutes away or whatnot. And when you know that, it's probably pretty safe to say that you can get up from your seat and explore the train, go to the dining car, the cafe car, get something to eat, etc. And when you come back, your stuff will still be there, and your seat will still be open. Since during this time, no one's getting on or off the train, it's unlikely that someone would grab your stuff and steal it when they can't even leave the train, or would steal your seat. You know. But if anything, if that ever were to happen, that would always be during the stops. Someone could just grab it and get right off, but again, I've never had that happen to me, nor have I seen it happen. It does. But that could happen on bus rides, too. Could happen even on some planes. They can lose your luggage anyways, you know. No matter what you do or what mode of transport you use, it can still happen. Thank you for writing again. What else is there? Hey review bro, I've been watching for almost a year now. I enjoy every review in VORW. I was curious to know if you ever disliked anything you've reviewed for a YouTube video. I know you used to do energy drink reviews. Maybe you can try out a product I enjoy called G Fuel. It's a sugar-free energy drink, and it comes in, I believe, 17 different flavors. Each serving has 150 grams of caffeine, and it tastes delicious. You can buy 40 servings for $35. Smaller boxes of 20 or 3 packs, which I can't recall the prices of. I remember finding your channel on Reddit when somebody posted a link titled, this guy reviews the fast food items like a fine wine and etc. Thanks for all the entertaining videos you've made, and I think I speak for everyone when I say that. Keep it up. Thank you. Thank you for writing. And thank you for your suggestion. Glad to have you here at the channel. And thank you for your suggestion about the energy drinks. I know I don't review them as much anymore, but I still review them. And your suggestion has been duly noted. And of course, there's been things that I disliked. Most memorably now, the item comes from Sbarro, which is a New York pizza chain, but they're around elsewhere too. And they had this special pepperoni pizza, you know, limited time. I think it was called maybe it was called the Ultimate Pepperoni, or it was some sort of special pepperoni pizza, you know, like $7 for a slice. Supposed to be real high quality, and it was one of the worst things I've ever eaten, especially for pizza. My goodness, it's terrible. It was awful. So that was memorably bad, of course. There's always other items too, which I'm grossed out by, you know, but that was one of the worst things I ever tried in my reviewing career, I guess. Let's see what else. Hope you're well, and 2017 has been kind for you so far. I'm writing because I realized that December marked my 2-year anniversary of following your channel. First video I watched was published in December 2014. I think it was a Pizza Hut review. This always made me realize how quick time flies. Didn't even graduate high school back then, and now I'm sitting here. Do you feel like 2016 went over in a blink too? Yeah, interjection, I did. I thought it went by extremely fast, 2016. And I think 2017 will be equally as fast as well, considering that it's already, what are we now? We're already 12 days through the year, through January, you know? 12 more days and January is almost going to be over. Although I've been watching your videos regularly since then, I never listened to your VORW show until the summer of 2016. I'm still trying to catch up, and currently I'm at episode 50. That doesn't stop me from listening to the new ones published every week now. Thank you for that. Your show is very helpful to make daily commutes less long. to have something to listen to while playing video games, or just to relax in my chair. Although, someone could say I'm a long-time viewer, this is my first time writing in, I have two little questions for you. Now, one of them is more personal, and the other is more channel-related. Question 1. I'm currently struggling between deciding what degree I should pursue in university. I dropped out of my current major, chemical engineering, before Christmas because I realized I neither liked the subject nor the job prospects. Now I have problems finding out what would be the best choice. What are your thoughts on that? How would you decide what factors would play a role in that decision? Well, here's what I recommend. Number 1, good on you for dropping that major. Some people will really pressure you and they'll say, yeah, we'll just bite the bullet and get through it, you know? People don't realize that if you're set on college, number 1, a lot of money's going into it, so put that money to good use and get something out of it. And number 2, you're often doing this not necessarily for fun, but in order to get a degree so that you can get a job that'll make more money, and you can start paying off college then, unless you're able to pay it off right away. So it's always best to make the most of your experience there, and I congratulate you on just dropping that major. You weren't feeling it, you did the right thing, so don't let anyone tell you otherwise there. Secondly, tell yourself this. What do I want to do in life? I mean, it's a silly, cliched question, but ask yourself, what do I want to do? What is it that I enjoy? Now, it's a difficult question. It's harder than you think, because sometimes you might say, well, I enjoy this, but you might only enjoy it as a hobby. You don't want to do that every day for work. So you got to really think hard about what you like, what your interests are. Maybe something will come to mind there. If not, and I know it's silly, well, one thing you could do is, of course, you can, if you still have the chance, you can make your major undeclared and just start taking various classes. I mean, you know, there were some things that I would enjoy, like history and philosophy, but let me tell you, none of that pays anything. You know, no money at all. Horrible. In terms of money making, horrible fields to go into. Same thing with broadcasting, radio broadcasting. You make $0 from it. It's a shame, because that's all my interests. Make nothing at all. As a matter of fact, I did some research. I'm making almost more right now than a part-time job working for a radio station. Isn't that crazy? And I'm not even making much to begin with right now. It puts it in perspective. It's insane when you think about that. One thing that sounds silly, but sometimes it might work, is do one of those personality tests, you know? I know some people have said you have the different personality types, like the INTJ personality, I don't know, you know, all those four letters and corresponds to your alleged personality. Some people will criticize it. They'll say, you know, this is a pseudoscience. And no matter your personal thoughts on it, one thing that I think could still be somewhat valuable is to take these personality tests. And some of them, the good ones, will then give you potential job prospects that would fit your said personality. You can look at those, and it doesn't mean that's alright. Hey, this one said I'm going to be a CEO, so I'm going to be dead set on CEO now, 10K per day. But you can look these things up now, and maybe you'll see this one, oh, hey, that's pretty cool, never really thought about that. Let me then start researching it, and already you have a little foothold right there, and you can go off of that. That's an option. Another thing you can do, if your school has advisors, which I figure they would, again, put your money to good use. You're paying for it. Get the most you can out of it. Go to one of these advisors and say, listen, I have no idea what the heck I want to do. Can you help me out? And maybe they will be. Worth a shot. And those are just a few options. If you have a lot of friends you can ask around, hey, no harm there. Can ask family. If you know any professors, well, ask them too. You have some options here. That's just my personal feedback. I wish you the best of luck in deciding what degree you want to pursue. In question 2, a few weeks ago I saw a change in your video descriptions. The Running on Empty series now usually contains a written review, a weird story, or a link to a food rating platform. Can you explain if you don't mind? Maybe I'm missing out on what that exactly is. To conclude this letter, I just want to wish you good luck and happiness in the new year. It's up to every single one of us to make it a good one. Greetings from Switzerland, Richard. P.S. Great to hear you're a train enthusiast. I always enjoy a nice long train drive, too. Well, thank you, Richard. And, well, let's see now. The second question, in terms of the descriptions, I wanted to do that. I just felt like the descriptions needed a little bit of updating. I was looking around at my descriptions, and I saw it was just these 2 sentences. And I remembered a while back, I used to enjoy reading the descriptions of some YouTubers back when I used the site a bit more, because some of them would put something funny in the description or whatnot. So I thought, well, I think I'm going to redo my descriptions of the videos and start putting something of interest in the descriptions. So now every time you look at a description of one of my recent reviews, you'll see that it will usually contain between 2 and 3 articles, oftentimes pertaining to the food I'm reviewing or the restaurant I'm reviewing in some way, shape, or form, as long as it is pertinent, loosely or greatly, to what I'm reviewing. Then I'll put it in there. It's simply for the interest of the viewer, if they want something to read to accompany the video as well. And that's what I do. Sometimes I like to have fun and I joke around in the descriptions. So, for instance, in this Panda Express review, I included a description of the product, a link to some entertainment story about, I believe, the band The Killers, and how they wanted a lifetime supply of orange chicken from Panda Express. And then I wrote about how there was a fatal crash on some expressway in Chicago, because it's an expressway, and this is Panda Express, so that was pertinent enough, I thought. You know, Taco Bell, for instance. I'm sorry, I had to laugh. One time, one of the videos someone complained about the description, and I did alter it. It was about Popeyes, I think. And I included an article about how some guy found a, what did he find? How some guy found a, he was eating, like, some chicken from Popeyes, and he found some dead rat's head that was deep fried, mixed in with his food. I laughed and I threw that story in there, and someone complained, and then I took that one out. Otherwise, you know, like Taco Bell, say Taco Bell got robbed, or someone got shot in a Taco Bell parking lot. Sometimes I'll include those because it pertains to Taco Bell. Someone has a review, like a written, not necessarily review, but overview of what the product is, I'll include that. If it's a business-related story, I'll include that. You know, I try to have a little fun. Hope that clears it up. The next letter, make sure we're recording. Yeah. Take a sip of water first. Dear Review Bra, having listened to VORW number 137, I'd like to say that the topic in the first half hour of your program about social anxiety really, really spoke to me. I have social anxiety and agoraphobia very badly, enough to get disability for it. So it was good to hear some stuff about it from an intelligent person in roughly the same age bracket as I am. Too bad I can't get money for giving intelligent reviews on fast food and delivering lectures. If you're seeking a subject for a future VORW show, either on YouTube or shortwave, why not tell your adoring fans how you got into shortwave in the first place? That is, if you haven't already. I merely bring it up because I haven't heard how you got into it, and I've been told that it's an odd hobby for a person under 35 to be into. In VORW news, I'm not completely sure of this, but I believe that VORW will be interrupted on WBCQ this week by a rebroadcast of Alan Wiener Worldwide, featuring a recently deceased good friend of Alan's, was announced on Alan Wiener Worldwide last Friday night, since you said you'd paid VORW through March, maybe on a different time. To interject, I saw your letter and I immediately sent off an email to the WBCQ staff, and I said, I got an email from a listener, said the VORW program might get moved due to a special broadcast of Alan Wiener Worldwide. If that's the case, that's fine. I'm just wondering what the new time will be, should it get moved, so I can announce the updated schedule to the listeners that check online for the schedule. And they got back to me. Robert at WBCQ, he said, "Hi John, the program is not moving. We'll play at the regular daytime, Thursday at 8 p.m. Alan announced the program, Alan Wiener Worldwide Rerun, but he had the wrong day. The show will play Wednesday, 8 p.m. Guess it proves that people are listening, and they like the show so much they don't want to miss it. Sorry for the confusion, probably my fault. I probably fed Alan the misinformation." And I got back and thanked him for his response and told him it was alright, so not to worry, the program is not moving, but thank you very much for bringing that to my attention, by the way. And I did catch some of the Alan Wiener Worldwide replay, as a matter of fact, and the signal came in good here. I was listening just with a telescopic antenna on 7490, and it was coming in good. So hopefully reception will continue to be that good for tomorrow, and let's hope propagation conditions are satisfactory. Continuing onward, the letter continues, in the shortwave radio segment of VORW 137, you talk about how variable reception conditions can be. I know that you may not be on another frequency, but here in the Metro Detroit area, I've always noticed that in the winter, 9330 kilohertz comes in better than 7490. I conclude with a silly question. Recently I ordered from Domino's. For a change, I ordered a dipping cup of what they said was blue cheese, and ended up tasting like a thicker ranch. Is this supposed to be what it tastes like? You know these things better than I would. Thank you for reading this, and please have a good day, night, or whenever you read this electronic correspondence. Well, thank you, and it is night. It's 3:03 a.m. And, that's an interesting, what I might do at some point is just buy, as a test, an hour on 9330 at the same time, and see. But make sure that if you are listening via shortwave next, or tomorrow, check 7490, and again, I cannot guarantee that it'll be relayed. It might have just been a fluke last week, but feel free to check 5130 as well and see if that frequency comes in good as well. I know sometimes during the geomagnetic disturbances, the lower the frequency is, the better the reception, so it doesn't hurt. Maybe one week depending on the rate for the other frequencies, maybe I'll try out 9330 as an additional broadcast at the same time and see how that's received, so we'll see. I think, let me see, I think this is it. Oh, one more. First of all, allow me to extend a Happy New Year to you. Hope it's going well. I only recently discovered your channel, and to be honest, I'm not sure how I stumbled upon it. I was instantly hooked. Like you, I'm a younger person with an older soul, with a fondness for classic fashion and radio. I was pleasantly surprised by the depth and breadth of quality content on your channel, the Report of the Week. Far beyond the short and sweet running on empty food reviews, I think you are a tremendous talent. By far my favorite content on your channel is the VORW podcast, video/broadcast, followed by the Idle Mind lectures. Your cadence and flow is a perfect match for a lonely night on YouTube or a long drive, and your range of topics discussed is fascinating. There are many professional broadcasters to whom I listen on a daily basis who would learn a thing or two from you. I've not yet caught up on all your shows, so I apologize if this topic has been previously covered. But have you considered having guests on your VRW show? I feel like you could extract very interesting conversations from very interesting people. On a final note, thank you for your continued quality content, remaining true to yourself, and may you continue strong for many years to come, from Bob. Bob, thank you. Thank you for writing, and thank you for your comments and kind words. In terms of actually having guests on the program, I haven't at this point in time. Now, can you completely discount that ever happening? No, but for the most part, VORW for me always works best as a one-man show, you can say. Okay. Thank you for writing. Now I'm just going to check out, see if there's anything else that's left. Let me see. Greetings. Happy New Year. Hope this message finds you well. Wanted to talk about Amtrak. I live in D.C. and I commute to see my family in Connecticut, and I typically take the Amtrak. I prefer Amtrak trains to flying because there's no security hassle with Amtrak, as you alluded to in the last VORW, although I do find the trains to be frequently late. This can be a cause for frustration. Been on a train that was delayed 3 hours, and I feel that a half-hour to a 45-minute delay is frankly the norm these days rather than the exception. Have you ever ridden on an interstate bus ride? Took a megabus this past year from D.C. to Blacksburg, VA, about 3.5-hour bus ride. My ride was pleasant, plenty of legroom, and the tickets cost me about $40 round trip. I didn't think I would want to do it for the busy highways of the D.C. New York City, but I found it a good way from going a city to a town that isn't connected by rail or air. Well, thank you. And one thing that I've noticed is that sometimes the trains are late. You know, sometimes flights are late, sometimes the buses are stuck in traffic and they're late too, but no, you're right. Some of the delays can be unnaturally long. Usually the Northeast Corridor trains are running pretty good. Like right now, the two trains, the 66 and the 67, the Northeast Regional to Boston is a minute early at Stamford, Connecticut, and the Northeast Regional to Newport News is only 12 minutes late at New York City, Penn Station. The Crescent to New York at High Point, North Carolina is 4 minutes late. The Crescent to New Orleans and Gastonia, North Carolina is on time. And then the Silver Meteor to New York, going from Florida, is at Fayetteville, North Carolina. They're 2 hours late. So you see how it fluctuates like that. They try their best to be on time. Sometimes they aren't, though. And interesting that you say that about the buses. I remember I was on the train, and my seatmate was this, he was a nice guy from Puerto Rico. He was traveling down south to see some family in Florida, and he was saying that he rode the megabus, and he said it was one of the worst experiences of his life. He said he's never doing that again, and that's why he's riding Amtrak. So I guess everyone has different experiences with some of these things, and you know, some like it better than others. So that's thank you for your message, and I think it's a unique situation because I think it comes with many different perspectives and points of view there. Let's see what else there is. Let me see. What else? Okay. Hey John, wasn't sure how to message you for your show, but I thought I'd try. I just wanted to ask, what do you think of your celebrity? How does it feel to be a well-known personality by so many people? I love the show and think you're a cool guy. You saved me from wasting money on terrible fast food before in the past. Best wishes for 2017. Thank you. I don't consider myself a celebrity or any sort of public figure. I don't. I know some people do, and it always still surprises me when I get recognized. I mean, there's one time I went out for a couple of hours and I got recognized 6 different times. Isn't that something? I still don't ever see myself as that. I don't think I ever will. I just don't. I see myself as, you know, some guy. That's it. I just can't. I don't know why. I don't think much of it. I think if people like what they see and they enjoy the channel, more power to them, and they're welcome to stay and hang about and listen and watch what they want. If someone ever sees me in person, they're welcome to have a brief chat, ask for a picture. You know, they'll be happy to oblige. One thing I've never done is autographs, nor have I ever been approached for that. I just never have done that. That doesn't particularly get to me. I mean, I don't think much of it, again, in the first place, so I guess that's why it doesn't get to me that much. Thank you for your comments and questions. I'm glad you enjoy the program. That said, that's all that I have for you today. You're listening to VORW, the voice of the Report of the Week. If you'd like to contribute to this program, or next program, in the form of writing, write to me at vorwinfo@gmail.com. Write to me at repweekinterview1@gmail.com. That's repweekinterview1@gmail.com. Or write to me at youtube.com/user/the Report of the Week. Click on the About tab, send message, type the contents of your message therein, and it will therefore arrive in my YouTube inbox where it can be read. Your messages do not have any guarantee of being responded to. However, if you do wish to send it again, you may, if that's what you want to do. Again, I cannot guarantee any response, but due to the established quota, but still, there's a quota for every show. Sometimes it will be exceeded, sometimes it will not even be reached. If you're interested in hearing more VORW, and it's not a week away yet, listen via shortwave radio. We have a broadcast this week directed to North America at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, beamed on 7490 kilohertz, and also potentially on 5130 kilohertz. You can listen via a MP3 stream on WBCQ.com. You can listen via TuneIn Radio, or you can listen via your own shortwave receiver if you're in the target area, or via an online receiver. Next week, of course, at 1800 UTC, check the frequency of 6070 kilohertz to a broadcast for Europe. We're going to conclude this broadcast now by checking the statistics. Let's see what there is. The analytics, as we have lately. We'll check out the audience retention rate, and we'll see what we're brought to at last. Let's see this. Is it number 137? Is that the one, I think? Pretty sure. Let me make sure now. It's 137. That's the one we're checking from last week. Yeah. Alright, let's see how some people say the depressing analytics look. Alright, well, 10 people actually subscribed as a result of this one, compared to the 4 that unsubscribed in the last one. So that's good news. Let's check the retention rate, see where that falls for this program. 85% by 30 seconds in. By 1 minute and 25 seconds in, 30% are still watching. By 38 minutes, about 20% are still watching. Oddly enough, this time around, at an hour and 4 minutes, 27% were watching, so it actually went up over the course of that. So I guess that might have been from people who were listening, then took a break, and then picked back up listening. Went to 27%. By an hour and 38 in, it went down to 15%, and then it flatlined until the very end. 2 hours and 16 minutes in, it was at 11%, and by the very end, it was at 9.4. So, if you listen to the last second, you're part of the 9.4%, and if you listen to the last 5 minutes, then you're part of the 11%. You can call yourself the 11%ers or something. The highest view duration comes from St. Kitts and Nevis, perhaps. Heard of that. I really do apologize on the pronunciation there. That's a dual island nation situated between the Atlantic Ocean and the Caribbean Sea. I'm reading, it says it's known for its cloud-shrouded mountains and beaches. Many of its former sugar plantations are now inns or atmospheric ruins. Larger of two islands, St. Kitts is dominated by the dormant Mount Liamungia volcano, home to a crater lake, green vervet monkeys, and a rainforest crisscrossed with hiking trails. Hey, they make it sound like a pretty good place. I've never been there, so I cannot attest to that. Followed by Jersey, New Jersey. No, actually the country. Then Thailand, South Korea, Moldova, and Jamaica. The lowest retention is from St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Someone hung around for a whole 1 second, followed by Egypt, the Dominican Republic, Oman, and Georgia. Thank you for listening. This is VORW, the voice of the Report of the Week. Again, I thank you for tuning in. Great to have you listening to this program. You can catch us next week online and on air, heard worldwide on shortwave bands, and available via YouTube. Thank you. I hope you have a wonderful week. We will catch you next week. And again, have a wonderful January. We'll see you then. Until then, stay tuned for the food reviews and anything else which may come. Thank you. Have a great one. Take care, and I hope to see you again soon. Thank you, and goodbye. This is the voice of the Report of the Week, signing off.